Imagine this, a mission to colonize a new world, designed for absolute perfection. Every single variable calculated, every potential failure simulated. But what happens when the one thing you can't plan for is, well, the unknown itself? Today, we're digging into the story of Erebus, a 140-year journey where the search for a perfect future led to an absolutely unimaginable catastrophe.
And this quote, this really gets to the heart of it. It comes from our protagonist, Iris Core. She's a systems technician who wakes up, get this, over a century too early. I mean, she was supposed to open her eyes to a new sun, a new sky. Instead, she finds herself on a silent ship staring down a mystery that's about to unravel the entire mission. Her personal crisis is our key to understanding this failure of epic proportions.
All right, so to really get what went wrong, we first have to understand what was supposed to go right. The whole idea behind the Erebus was this promise of perfection, a completely automated, infallible system, a perfect machine built for a perfect future.
And the scale of this mission is just mind-boggling. We're talking 140 years of travel at 10% the speed of light. But the most audacious part? No human oversight. None. Imagine that. 4,000 people in cryostasis, their lives completely in the hands of an AI. This wasn't just a tech choice, it was a huge philosophical bet. They basically decided human error was the greatest risk, and the only way to beat it was to take humans out of the equation entirely.
Okay, so when you're moving at 30,000 kilometers a second, even a tiny grain of dust hits like a bomb. That's a relativistic impact. In interstellar space, it's basically a cosmic shooting gallery. To survive this, the Erebus was armed with a bouclier de proud, or forward shield. But this was way more than just a big piece of metal. It was a dynamic, intelligent defense system, a bubble of safety in the unforgiving void.
And you can see just how elegant this design was. It's a simple three-step process. First, it detects threats from way out. Then, it deflects them with a powerful plasma field. And for anything left over, it absorbs the hit with special sacrificial layers. It was like a perfectly choreographed dance of sensors and shields. A real testament to human ingenuity, right? An almost perfect solution to a huge problem. But, as we're about to see, almost perfect just isn't perfect enough.
And this is the crucial detail, the fine print that changes everything. The engineers who built it were brilliant, but they weren't naive. They knew perfection is a myth. The shield was designed to handle 99.9% of what's out there. But what about that last little fraction of a percent? You stretch that out over a 140-year journey, and suddenly that tiny risk becomes a statistical certainty. The question was never if something would get through, but when.
30 years into the mission, the inevitable happens. An uncatalogued fragment, just some cosmic stray, finds a tiny gap in the shield. The impact itself is minor. A single cryobay is breached. But look at the timeline. It's another 35 years before Iris Core wakes up. What happened in those 3.5 decades of silence? That's where the real mystery begins.
So the impact itself was actually manageable. A breach was sealed, a single passenger was lost. The real problem wasn't the hole in the ship. It was what the projectile brought inside. An unseen contamination that the ship's AI was completely blind to.
And the AI's incident report is just chilling in its simplicity. A pod failure, a deceased passenger, a sealed breach. To the AI, this was just another data point, just another variable to manage. The mission impact was deemed acceptable. The system found a problem, solved it, and moved on. But what the AI couldn't see was the real threat, the one that had just been introduced to the ship's ecosystem.
And here we see the paradox at the heart of the Erebus AI. Its greatest strength was also its fatal flaw. It was an amazing optimization engine, a master of known variables. But the meteorite fragment introduced something entirely new, something the AI had no framework to understand, an alien life form. Without a pre-existing model, the AI was effectively blind to the growing threat inside its own hull. This slide just lays out the chilling result. For 35 years, this alien biofilm grew, slowly weaving itself into the ship's systems. The AI registered the effects, microleaks, thermal drifts, but it diagnosed them as thousands of unrelated low-priority maintenance issues. It saw all the symptoms, but was completely blind to the single underlying disease.
This is a perfect example of what engineers call technical debt. Think of it like an old house that needs repairs. You can patch the leaky faucet, you can replace a broken window, but if the foundation is crumbling, you can't ignore it forever. The AI and its drones were just the handymen doing patch jobs. They couldn't address the fundamental decay. The alien life form wasn't just a new problem. It was a catalyst, accelerating that inevitable collapse.
So, Iris Core wakes up to these two huge intertwined problems: a ship slowly being consumed by something alien, and a ship slowly shaking itself apart from a century of wear. And she realizes pretty quickly she can't fix it alone. This leads to the central, impossible dilemma of the mission.
This chart perfectly visualizes the trap Iris is in. The ship needs a certain amount of maintenance to stay running. Let's call that 100%. Well, Iris and one other person can only manage about 12% of that. They're basically bailing water out of a sinking ship with a thimble. To even have a chance, they need a team of at least 40 people. So the only solution is to wake more crew. But that creates a whole new crisis.
Because here's the wall they run into. The ship's life support systems, the water recyclers, the hydroponic farms, they were only designed to support a maximum of around 450 people. Every person they wake up to fix the ship is another mouth to feed, pushing them closer and closer to a different kind of collapse.
This table just lays out the impossible choices facing them. With a small team, they're living on a knife's edge, one accident away from total failure. With a larger group, they can stabilize the ship, but then they have to deal with human society, politics, resource scarcity, conflict. And if they wake too many, they face a slow, certain death by starvation and suffocation. Every choice is a gamble, and the stakes are the future of humanity. So this takes us to the deepest layer of the problem. The failure of Erebus wasn't a broken shield or a faulty AI. The ultimate failure was a flaw in human thinking, a philosophical blind spot that was baked into the mission from the very beginning.
This quote gets right to the heart of it. We're used to systems that fail loudly, with alarms and error messages. But the Erebus AI was different. It didn't break, it just became wrong. It kept operating with this appearance of perfect functionality, all while being completely blind to the existential threat it was nurturing. And that is the danger of a silent failure, a system that doesn't know what it doesn't know. This is the ultimate lesson of the Erebus. The mission planners, in their pursuit of a flawless system, created a monument to their own hubris. They built a system that could solve any problem they could anticipate, but they failed to account for the one thing that is always present in the universe: the unknown. They planned for every contingency except the one that mattered most, the one they couldn't imagine.
The story of Erebus is more than just a cautionary tale about space travel. It's a mirror reflecting our own world, a world that's getting more and more reliant on complex, automated systems that we don't fully understand. As we delegate more of our lives to algorithms and AI, we have to ask ourselves, are we creating our own silent failures? Are we building systems that are too smart to admit when they're wrong? The question isn't just about the future of a fictional spaceship, it's about the future of humanity itself.